This is the Talk Show America Show.
There's the place where we learn to stand tall as we all pledge allegiance to our flag on the wall. Whatever happens, you in God we trust. I know those words still mean something to most of us. Where's the voice of the majority? Can someone please tell me? Where's my country? Where's my country?
And welcome one and all to the Talk Show American. JR here with you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen. We certainly appreciate it very much, folks, here. Thank you for your listenership. Thank you for your following on Twitter, Facebook, Getter, Parlay, Gab. And again, as I always say, there's so many of them out there to mention that it's getting very difficult to keep the order going. But we'll do our best to try to remember others that were on that you can go to. You just go to the Talk Show American there, and you'll find the podcasts and also blog posts, things of that nature that might be of interest to you. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things. The war in Ukraine between Russia and the Ukraine is still going on, and that's kind of, the story that is really out there in the news for the most part. And that's still going on, so we're not going to talk about that today too much. We're going to let that go to the wayside, and you can catch up on whatever news entity that you use to keep yourself up to date on those things. But I did want to talk about one story that's coming out. You're not going to see this on the mainstream news media, folks. You're not going to see it on ABC. You're not going to see it on CBS. You're not going to see it on NBC, CNBC. All of these PMSNBC, all of these news organizations, CNN. You're not going to see it there, folks. The only place you're going to see this story is in the conservative media. But it was covered by a big mainstream news media newspaper, and that's being the New York Times. And this is the story about Hunter Biden's laptop. Remember this infamous laptop that came out during the elections, this laptop that came out with all types of information that about Hunter Biden and his a partner of his. They were both on the board of the Ukraine company Burisma, I believe it is, and there was a lot of controversy about this. Plus the fact that supposedly, anyway, there were a lot of photographs of Hunter Biden in obviously precarious positions, and also possibly of him with underage girls in inappropriate situations. So those things came out during that time, and you remember the Biden administration, especially Joe Biden, the Biden campaign at that point in time, especially Joe Biden, denying all of this, saying it was Russian disinformation, it wasn't true, that he was not the big guy that got the 10% kickback on the business dealings and everything else. But now the New York Times has come out with a story that says basically this stuff is, at least it's true, that the laptop exists and the emails exist. And some of these emails even say what Joe Biden has said was not true, proving that it's not Russian disinformation because the laptop actually existed. As we know, it went to some repair shop in Delaware. I don't know how it ended up there, but it ended up there. The guy gave it to the FBI when he went on the laptop and found these photos and things of that nature, which caused some concern. And the FBI took that and investigated, of course, to what extent. Obviously, during the election process, the election campaigns, they did not do anything with this for the most part. And so, obviously, some of the information never got to who it should get to. But the story has now come out. The New York Times has now, put the story forward, and it's a pretty comprehensive report about the ongoing federal probe into Hunter Biden's tax filings, published by it was published by the New York Times on Wednesday, and confirmed the existence of the first son's, Joe Biden's son's, infamous laptop. Something that, as I said, the Biden campaign at that point in time denied existed. Joe Biden himself said it was all Russian disinformation, on down the line. Now, this coming out now is it's not suspect. I think that what's happened is it's come out now because they feel that it'll probably get drowned out by still COVID, and obviously the war with Russia and between Russia and the Ukraine. I think that what they'll hopefully is this is drowned out as not big news. Of course, none of the mainstream news media outlets are yet to report it, with the exception of the New York Times. The New York Post has also picked up on this and gone a bit further with it. But otherwise, you probably won't see much about this if you're not on the internet. If you're only watching the alphabet, as I call them, the alphabet news media, you're basically not going to find much, because they're not going to cover it, folks. Because they're going to have egg on their face again. Again and again and again. All of these allegations, things that came out during the campaigns, all the allegations against the Bidens, things are starting to come true. Not only that, but now you have the investigation still going on by Durham in regards to to Clinton and her campaign, and how they spied on then candidate Donald Trump, and also President Donald Trump. How her campaign, had people spying on him. Remember when he came out and said that he was being spied on when he was running, when his campaign was being spied on, and people laughed at him. People laughed. They basically, they were ridiculing him, saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous." Well, that's all coming out to be true now, folks. Just like this laptop, when it first came out, denials, this Russian disinformation, on down the line, I'm not the big guy getting 10%, blah, 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 on down the line. And what happens? Now it's coming out that there's truth to these things. There's truth to the laptop's existence, and there's truth to the emails that were garnered from these laptops that show text messages, photos, financial documents between Hunter Biden and his family and business associates, detailing how Hunter Biden used political leverage in his overseas business dealings. Now, there was a lot of talk about how he owed taxes, taxes on foreign investment. He owed these taxes, and he wasn't paying. There's a lot of talk about that he didn't owe them, or that this was, again, Russian disinformation. Well, now he's paid those taxes, folks. Not too long ago, he's paid those taxes. He was also he was advised that he owed those taxes, and he was advised that he should register as a foreign lobbyist way before this the story about this laptop ever came out. Way before I think they even knew the laptop existed, and he basically never did this. And people say, well, why does he have to register as a under the FARA Act? Well, the bottom line is that he was trying to use his father for political influence, and this is foreign lobbying, and so he would have been required by law to register as a lobbyist, as a foreign lobbyist, which he never did. And again, they're trying to make it sound like he had, he wasn't doing these things. But now that you look at the New York Times story, you find out that he was, because these emails actually say that. They talk about, this was talked about even during the campaign, that they were, the Burisma was trying to lobby and get an audience with the vice president, then Joe Biden, and that obviously Hunter Biden was being used to do that. Now, he's lobbying the president for a foreign entity, a foreign country, foreign company. Obviously he would have to have registered as a foreign lobbyist, and if he's making money, via that, then he has to pay taxes on it. So this is the story so far. This is what's coming out now. This is the only part that's really coming out right now as the the center of the investigation. But I think you're going to find out there's more. Federal prosecutors have looked into these emails between Hunter Biden and his former business associate, and these were recovered from the laptop. So they're looking into this. So they're not looking into it if there's nothing there, folks. I will tell you right now. They're not going to say, "Oh, we're going to do this big investigation," if there's nothing there. Most of the scrutinized, or some of the scrutinized content, was between Hunter Biden and Devon Archer, who was his associate in Burisma, and they basically, were at the behest of Burisma. They wanted to lobby Vice President Joe Biden. Now, people may not know this, but Archer was sentenced last month in an unrelated fraud case, and has been cooperating with the feds in their probe of Hunter Biden, along with Hunter Biden's ex-partner, who he has a child with that probe as well. And that has a lot to do with the financial part of this, which seems what they seem to be most interested in. According to the New York Times, the emails between Hunter Biden and Archer and others regarding their international business activity came from the files and the publication obtained from that appears to have come from that laptop that was abandoned by Hunter Biden in that Delaware repair shop. So according to the Times also, people familiar with the emails and the investigation confirmed their authenticity to the Times, which is important because you want to make sure that you're getting accurate information. So here we go, folks. Something that was denied is there again. It's rearing its ugly head again. All buried because of the election. All buried, all covered up, it's Russian disinformation. It isn't true. It's Trump campaign disinformation. All this stuff. And now it's coming out that this laptop existed, and so do these emails. So, according to the Times, the laptop was confirmed, as I said, and also they revealed that Hunter Biden has paid off a tax liability of over $1 million a year after he announced he was under investigation for defrauding the IRS. So he's been under investigation for failing to pay those taxes since his father was vice president. But the inquiry broadened in 2018 to look into how his international business dealings intersected with the President Biden's political career. And at that point in time, obviously, he was the vice president. So there's much to be said here about this revelation from, of all places, the New York Times. So I'm certainly no friend of conservatives, and certainly not a right wing or a conservative news organization. So for them to come out with this stuff, folks, really shows you that this truth to what's being said here. And I think that at some point in time, you may find some other things, but the big question for me now here is, they're talking about the financial dealings right now of Hunter Biden, him not paying the taxes. So this is where I think they're trying to center it on right now. But the big thing is what's going to come out in a little bit. What's going to come out about whether or not the big guy was getting 10%. This is lobbying. And all these denials by then Vice President Biden and now now President Biden. It's a bombshell revelation. It's not being covered by the mainstream news media. You're not going to see it. They're not going to talk about it because, first of all, they're going to have egg on their faces if they do. The other thing is they're certainly not going to do anything to try to take down Joe Biden at this point in time. So it's interesting to see where this is going to go, and we're going to cover it a little bit further, after the break that's coming up. But right now, they're only talking about the tax things, but I think you'll get into other things as we go along. We'll be talking more about this when we come back from the break. Stay tuned, folks.
You're listening to the Talk Show America Show.
Are you 60 plus and love to travel? Introducing the Senior Travel Discount Network, brought to you by Low Cost Airlines. Call us anytime, day or night, and save up to 75% on your airline and hotel reservations. We can help you save a ton of money to fly almost anywhere. We have inside discounts on over 500 airlines and 500,000 hotels worldwide. And when you call and mention the discount code 60 plus, we'll give you an extra free night with your qualified air and hotel reservation. Now you can get the best prices on air and hotel reservations with your phone. We make it easy and fast for you to save money and book a trip. Remember, call the Senior Travel Discount Network, mention the discount code 60 plus for your free hotel night with your qualified reservation. Call now.
800-643-3049. 800-643-3049. 800-643-3049. That's 800-643-3049.
Alana was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's cancer. As a parent, when you're told this type of news, you're going to do whatever you can do for your babies. When we got to St. Jude is when I realized that, no, you're not going to get a bill for anything. I don't have to worry about it. They're saying we're going to help save her, and we're not going to charge you anything. This is what we do.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Okay, folks, we're back here from the break. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen. We certainly appreciate it very much indeed, folks. And just a quick reminder, again, you can find me on Twitter at Talk Show America. Just at Talk Show America, all one word. If you're on Twitter, you'll find me. On Getter, the same thing, at Talk Show America, as listed as the Talk Show American. And on Gab is the Talk Show American. And on, as I had several other platforms, Parlay as the Talk Show American. You can find me on those platforms. Facebook is Facebook at Talk Show America Media, / for Talk Show America Media. You'll find me there too. But if you put the Talk Show American on Facebook, you'll get to the page as well. So several ways to get there. You can also go to my website, TalkShowAmerica.com, TalkShowAmerica.com, and that'll bring you to the Talk Show American website, where there's several things there, podcasts. And other things that latest editions of episodes of the podcast that you can listen to. All right, we want to get back to what we were talking about here. And that is Hunter Biden's laptop, and now the New York Times obviously has come out and said that the laptop does exist. There are emails on there that are being investigated. But according to another story that came out, on top of that one that was from the New York Times, but this story more elaborates on it. Hunter Biden was told in 2016 and 2017 that he had unpaid taxes on foreign income, and was alerted to the possibility that he would have to register as a FARA lobbyist, a foreign lobbyist. Now, FARA stands for Foreign Agents Registration Act, and it was enacted in 1938. And basically says that it requires certain agents of foreign principals who are engaged in political activities or other activities to register. And this is also whether it disclose. It requires you to disclose requirements and other legal obligations on any individual or entity that becomes an agent of a foreign principal. Now, Hunter Biden being on the board of Burisma, the Ukraine company, and him basically lobbying his father, then Vice President of the United States, for Burisma, is basically acting as a foreign agent. And obviously, any money he made from this, he would have been required to pay taxes on, and also he would have most likely, and I don't want to say 100% for sure, because it certainly looks like even the New York Times report and this report are saying the possibility. But I would think that most likely they would fall into this, regardless of who he is and who his father is. It doesn't matter if he's Joe Biden's son. If he's working for a foreign company, in this case he was, in this case it was Burisma out of the Ukraine, he would have been required to register as a foreign agent, in my opinion. But that's my opinion only. Again, there could be some other legal reasons why. I don't know what they would be, but the bottom line is it's certainly it's been raised as a possibility. So he was alerted years ago to legal issues about unpaid taxes on foreign income and the potential of having to register as a foreign lobbyist under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. And apparently, obviously, this didn't happen. Now, the memos from business associates, accountants, and law partners were turned over in December of 2019 to the FBI on that laptop that Hunter Biden had reportedly abandoned at a Delaware repair shop. These memos provide supporting evidence to suspicious financial transactions flagged to the Treasury Department between 2016 and 2019 by banks that were revealed by a 2020 Senate investigation. Now, you didn't hear a lot about this because obviously this is all being covered up because of the fact that Joe Biden was running for President of the United States. Now, two of the most tantalizing memos, if you want to call it that, involved Hunter Biden's relationship with Burisma Holdings, the Ukrainian gas firm, long regarded by the United States as corrupt. That they had hired Hunter Biden and his now convicted business partner, although it has nothing to do with this investigation, Devon Archer, to the board in spring of 2014. The hirings coincided with a trip by then Vice President Joe Biden to Kyiv as President Obama's newly appointed point man for the U.S.-Ukraine policy. So here we go, folks. The computer records show that just as word of the Burisma hiring became public, Hunter Biden was looped into an email string with Ukrainian company executives and one of his American law partners laying out an aggressive plan to lobby U.S. agencies, according to this report. There was a pointed discussion about gaining influence inside the Obama-Biden administration for Burisma without having to register as a lobbyist under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. So in other words, they want to basically skirt the law is what they wanted to do. But how can you do that, folks? How can you lobby the Vice President of the United States for a foreign entity and not be considered a foreign agent? Even though you may come from the United States, your citizenship may be here, you're acting on behalf of that company. That company is a foreign company, so therefore, why wouldn't you be required to register as a foreign agent? That's why I say we can't say 100% for sure that it'd be required to. I would think basically what I see, what this act was created for, he would have to. But certainly also have to report, financial information and pay the taxes on that financial information. So, this is amazing. This was from a law partner at Boies, Schiller, and Flexner, and it was one in one of the memos. It said Devon and Hunter. This was someone from the law firm addressing him, saying the immediate plan is to reach out to the Energy and respectively as State Department at the State Department to introduce them to Burisma and update them on Burisma's current situation. Then it goes on to say we can just go in there. We can't just go in there with a hard ask, but it's often the case that the conversation is open to ask, assuming it goes well. Now, this was dated on May 12th of 2014. At that time, Hunter Biden was joining the Burisma board, and he also worked at the law firm and was directing some of Burisma's legal work to the firm. So there's some questions here. This has been obviously been going on for a while. Some of these things that were being said, the memos openly discussed a desire to avoid lobbyists. It says, we at BSF will lead all this work and can create can execute the political and legal work right up to the line where we would need to register as lobbyists, but I don't want to register under the Lobbying Disclosure Act or the Foreign Agents Registration Act, the law partner wrote. Now, this is in things that they found. This is in the report. When I post the podcast, folks, I will post the stories where you can find this information yourself. So later, so I'm assuming that that's the person that wrote this, inquired about whether Burisma had any American subsidiaries so it could lobby through them and not be viewed as a foreign entity. So it asked Devin this question, says, Devin, does Burisma have any related company registered in the United States, a subsidiary of any sort even? She asked in an email string with Hunter Biden, which Hunter Biden was copied to. And according to Archer, he wrote back that they did not. So here you go, folks. So if they don't have a subsidiary in America, I think they would have been required to register as foreign agents. And obviously that apparently didn't happen. So they tried to get a hold of this law partner and get verification from her, but she wouldn't return repeated calls. Nothing new there, right? As we said before, the New York Times reported last Wednesday that the federal investigation into Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings began in 2018 and is focused on issues like whether he legally was obligated to register under the FARA Act, and whether he violated tax laws or laundered any money. So all of this stuff is coming out, folks. When it was starting to come out during the election, it was obviously suppressed as much as it could be, and for a good reason, because obviously it was already causing problems, but it would have caused worse problems. But the denial by then candidate Biden, vice president, and candidate Biden, he wasn't vice president then; he was a presidential candidate. The denial was just amazing. I mean, to say they're all lies, it's Russian disinformation, it's the Trump campaign disinformation. So all of this was coming out while Biden was running for president. Now, when Joe Biden was elected, Hunter Biden then acknowledged that he was under tax investigation. And of course, he was denied any wrongdoing, which would be what anybody does when they're being, accused of something. And again, that tax was reportedly around $1 million, and he's paid it now. He's paid the tax. Now, if you didn't do anything wrong and you don't owe the money, then why would you be paying the tax? Of course, $1 million to them people is probably like pocket change. But I still, say that if you don't owe the money, why are you paying it? Obviously you owed the money, in my opinion. But he's, according to Just the News, which is where this story is coming from, and it's a very good news site, by the way, folks. If you want to get good conservative information and it to be accurate and reliable, JustTheNews.com. JustTheNews.com is the place to go. JustTheNews.com. It's John Solomon is the person, the CEO and the editor-in-chief who runs it, and a very reliable journalist, in my opinion. Really digs deep into things, and his publication, JustTheNews.com, does the same. So if you get a chance, and this is not a paid endorsement, I don't get paid for this. I don't make any money off of it. JustTheNews.com is the place to get this information from a good reliable source, where you don't have to worry about it, maybe being sensationalized or anything else. A good place to get it. So, according to them, according to JustTheNews.com, more than the memos obtained more than a year ago show the president's son, Hunter Biden, was warned as early as 2016 by a business associate and accountant that he failed to pay taxes on large payments he had received from Burisma. I keep saying Bruins, but it's Burisma. For instance, just 4 days before President Trump assumed the presidency, a business colleague warned Hunter Biden he had not paid taxes on approximately $400,000 that had been paid by Burisma in 2014 alone. In that, there's a memo in it. It says, in 2014, you joined the Burisma board, and we still need to amend your 2014 returns to reflect the unreported Burisma income. And that was Rosemount Seneca executive Eric Sherwin, I believe it is, writing Hunter Biden in January 16th of 2017 on an email. That is approximately $400,000 extra, so your income in 2014 was close to $1,247,328. Isn't that just wonderful, folks? And again, in this story, which you can find there, and I'll leave the link to it in the show notes on the podcast. It has the documentation to where you can see this yourself. Okay, so you know that it's not just something that's being made up. It's really amazing. It really is. We're going to be right back, folks, after these messages. Stay tuned.
You're listening to the Talk Show America Show.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-795-5573. 800-795-5573. That's 800-795-5573. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
This is a St. Jude moment.
Ashton was a high-level athlete, and in an instant, your world flips. And your healthy 5-year-old competitive cheerleader has a brain tumor. And the physician was like, your best option is St. Jude. Receiving treatment that was life-saving for our child, and knowing that that treatment would be of no cost to us, was a huge weight lifted.
Learn more at stjude.org.
Okay, folks, we're back here on the Talk Show American. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to listen. We certainly appreciate it very much, folks. JR here with you, your host. We're talking about the Hunter Biden laptop, because this is something that obviously came out during the campaign for the presidential election, the 2020 election, but was basically buried and regarded as misinformation and wasn't true. None of these things, were true that came out in the emails. Largely what we're talking about right now, though, that seems to be coming out more than anything else that they're focusing on, because obviously they don't want to focus on the big guy getting 10%, and that's something that we're going to have to look into further. Largely what we're focused on right now is the financial dealings of Hunter Biden through the Burisma Ukraine company, gas company, where he was on the board along with a colleague of his, Devon Archer. There was a question whether or not he should have registered as a foreign lobbyist. There was a question of unpaid taxes, which now have since been paid. But there was a question about that. At some point in time, he denied any wrongdoing, said he didn't owe the taxes. He didn't violate the FARA Act. And now, obviously, as you see, he's paid the taxes. So that's, the number one step towards what's going on here. But the bottom line is he was denying he ever owed these taxes. And now he's paid it. So you got to look at that a little bit and say, yeah, well, why would you pay the taxes if you didn't owe them, if it wasn't true? So as we pointed out that he had ended up it was $400,000 extra that wasn't reported, that he had to report, that and that they wanted to report his Rosemont Seneca executive Eric Schuren, he wrote him in January 16 of 2017 to say that he owed that much more because of being on the Burisma board. It was unreported Burisma income. So the emails actually started months earlier in the spring of 2016 when Hunter Biden learned his longtime business partner Archer was under in federal investigation. So he had some, he was getting this information way back then. And this is, again, something that shows that this was not some, I didn't realize this. It's been going on for a while. And there's no doubt in my mind that if Hunter Biden knew this, that Joe Biden knew this. And this is where this is going, these denials, this isn't true. It's Russian disinformation, blah blah blah, and down the line, were just that, campaign denials. That obviously there was something going on here in regards to the Burisma, where Hunter Biden was trying to gain, as you can hear from some of these emails, gain influence, to the vice president, his father in this case, via, for Burisma out of the Ukraine, which again is a foreign company. So therefore, he would be advocating for a foreign company, which, in my opinion, anyway, as I said, he would be required to register as a foreign agent. Now, the only way that he may not have had to is if the Burisma had any subsidiaries in the United States. In other words, if they had a company operating in the United States, he could probably go through that route to get to that. But they did not. According to Devin Archer, he clearly stated that they did not have any. So this was known, folks, for a while, and this goes to show you too, how this has been, all these things have been getting covered up for how long they have been. The corruption is just unbelievable, but it doesn't seem to matter anymore. If this was Trump's son, believe me, they'd be pursuing this to the ends of the earth. And obviously it's obvious when you see, what's going on here, that would have been the case. And certainly it is not the case, and was not the case back then. They may have been having an investigation. They may have opened an investigation to cover their butts, probably. But the bottom line is, this actually started before Joe Biden even, while Joe Biden was still vice president. So this investigation, but I think what happened here is obviously it was covered up as much as it could be because of that fact. And now you're starting to see it come out a little bit. But again, the mainstream news media isn't covering this yet. They're not going to. You're not going to hear from them unless it becomes so big that they can't do anything but. And then they'll probably try to run cover for them. It's amazing. But as the story goes on, we'll probably find out more information and go from there. But it certainly points again to how much we've been being lied to by this administration now and the campaign at the time, the Biden campaign at the time. How much lies are being told, and it's just amazing, you know. But again, this is what happens, you know. According to this article, they were devising a strategy for Hunter Biden to file an extension to file his taxes, his 2015 taxes, and begin the process of amending the 2014 taxes to reflect the Burisma payments from 2014. The move would buy time, according to this, to the article. The move would buy time so that Hunter Biden's team could develop a proffer and produce documents to federal prosecutors to avoid being ensnared in the criminal case against Archer, the emails revealed. At the time, the FBI, the SEC, and the IRS were bearing down on Archer, and the agents arrested him a month later in May of 2016 on the charges that he helped defraud a Native American tribe, a move that the emails show was closely monitored by Hunter Biden's team. Archer was convicted by a federal court in 2018, and he was recently sentenced to a year and 1 day in prison and millions in fines and restitution. Of course, Archer is appealing the sentence, but that's, you know, for the norm. So, Representative Jim Jordan, who played a role in the congressional investigation about the false Russian collusion narrative and the Ukraine impeachment scandal, said that Thursday that the laptop documents and their relevance to the FBI probe illustrate the dangers of the censorship that occurred in major social media and news media outlets when the Biden scandal first broke in 2019. He said major news media called the Biden scandal a conspiracy theory. National security experts aligned with the Biden campaign alleged falsely that the story and the laptop were Russian disinformation. Twitter and Facebook censored stories about the issues at the time they were. He said, quote, in this case, you have the Democrat candidate for president in the weeks leading up to the election. We find out that his son had this cushy job with Burisma that was the focus of the 2019 impeachment, not paying taxes. That comes out just days and weeks before the presidential election. That's what the censors had to avoid. They went to any length to stop social media platforms and not allowing the story to go forward. The legacy media, as pointed out, and of course all those intel people who came forward and said, oh, this is really Russian disinformation. And of course, Jordan said apparently it wasn't, and it was the truth. So this is what we're talking about, folks. The type of corruption that was going on. As I said, if this was Donald Trump Jr., do you think for a minute this wouldn't be front page news? This wouldn't be on the ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, PMSNBC, CNBC. You don't think this would be a drumbeat on the news constantly? Boom, 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 boom. You know it would be. And they have tried to do these things with Donald Trump Jr. They haven't had any success because there's nothing there, folks. This was something there, and the success they had was covering it up or burying it at least until after the election, and trying to keep it suppressed as long as possible. Now it's starting to come out. I don't know if you're going to hear from other news media outlets. You probably will, but they're probably going to come out with it's just about taxes. It's not about anything else. If this is there, folks, buried in that laptop, what else is on there that we don't know about? Now, nothing in here yet says about the big guy getting the 10%. So that's something we'll have to wait and see if that comes out or not. But it's amazing that this story has come out. It's kind of buried under all the other things that are going on, and there's really not much coverage on it except for what you hear from here, probably other conservative news media outlets. So it's amazing, folks, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But it appears that this information is now starting to come out, and it kind of it's. Let me just hang on. So I'm just trying to get my notes here to work. It's kind of odd that it's coming out at this time, but I believe that that even though it's not being covered by the mainstream news media, I believe that it's starting to come out a little bit now because they feel that maybe the Ukraine-Russia war is overshadowing much of this. So it's amazing to see with the New York Times reporting this. I guess the New York Times article was written by Kenneth Vogel. He got this information through the Freedom of Information Act, and he was seeking copies of all correspondence that mentioned Hunter Biden among officials at the U.S. Embassy in Romania between August 2015 and 2019, according to the Business Insider. So this all came out as a result of this, and at least to some extent anyway, they've brought somewhat to light. Although obviously, as I said, I doubt that you're going to see any other news media cover this. But the State Department started identifying records and responding to the Times FOIA request, which is the Freedom of Information Act, and begin processing records for production as it continues to identify the remaining responsive records. So there might be some still out there, folks, that they haven't gotten yet. So that's going to be amazing, and I find it amazing that it just went from there's nothing there, it's Russian disinformation, Trump campaign disinformation, blah blah blah, and down the line, to all of a sudden this information comes out, and it's front and center for those who want to see it. Of course, for those who want to cover it up or pretend it doesn't exist, more probably to the point, the mainstream news media wants to pretend it doesn't exist, and they're hoping that the Russia-Ukraine war drowns it out. So it's gonna be interesting to see where this goes in the next few weeks. Where is this going to take us? What where could we see this go? Was the big guy getting 10%? We'll have to find this out. So because there was definitely a denial there, and it's and the truth matters, folks. If you're going to deny that I was getting 10% and he was, this is big because first of all, his son doesn't register as a foreign agent, which I think he should have. I don't see why that, unless there's something else that's not being reported that I'm not aware of yet. Certainly, Burisma did not, at least according to Archer, have any subsidiaries here in the United States where they could have operated from, which would have covered them, and not having to operate as a foreign agent, because they would have been operating through the subsidiary. That's all I have for today, folks, here on the Talk Show America Show. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen. We certainly appreciate it very much indeed. We'll catch you again on the next episode. Have a great day, folks. Stay safe.
God bless America. Land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above.